Hey, today we're talking about how to start English conversations, both with people who you know and with new people who you are meeting maybe for the first time. So I get lots and lots of questions about English conversation skills. I've had questions about how to be confident when you're speaking to someone in English, what questions to ask, how to approach new people, what to say, how to make small talk and keep your conversation going. I know that English conversation skills are extremely important for many of you, and so I have created a free ebook for you on the topic, English Conversations Made Simple. The book teaches you how to start conversations, how to keep them going, how to end them. You'll also learn tons of phrases and questions that you can use to sound much more natural and confident in your English conversation. So you can get your free ebook by clicking the link just below this video. And now let's get started. So if you want to have a successful conversation in English, you first need to think, what exactly does a successful conversation mean? What is the definition of a successful conversation? So this looks different for everyone and it looks different in every situation. But to help you know whether you've been successful or not, we need some kind of definition for a successful English conversation, all right? So let's say that a successful English conversation is one where both people have understood each other, both people's ideas and opinions have been communicated clearly, there have not been misunderstandings, miscommunication, and neither person is stressed or upset because of misunderstandings or miscommunication. This would be my definition or my idea of a successful conversation in English, all right? Let me know if you agree with me down below. Let me know what you would define as a successful conversation, all right? So this is the first thing that you need to think about. What exactly does a successful conversation look like to you, okay? Another thing that you need to remember is that a conversation in English is much more than just your grammar and your vocabulary, okay? A successful conversation equals successful communication. It's really about communication. It's about much more than just the language, okay? So keep this in mind as well. And before you start a conversation with someone, in order to get into the right mindset, I'm going to give you a list of questions that you need to think about, that you need to consider before you even start the conversation. So the first question that you want to ask yourself is, who am I talking to and what is my relationship with this person, okay? Who am I talking to and what's my relationship with this person? So are you talking to a close friend, an acquaintance, a stranger, a colleague, a boss, someone that you're gonna see again, someone that you're never gonna see again? You have to think about this, and your conversation will be a little bit different, of course, depending on your relationship with this person. And based on your relationship with the person you're talking to, you then need to ask yourself, how formal or informal should I be in this situation? How formal or informal should I be in this situation? So if you're talking to your boss or to someone who you're meeting for the first time or a potential business partner, you might want to be more formal, right? If you're talking to someone who you're comfortable with, you know well, you see them all the time, of course you can be a little bit more informal, okay? So generally speaking, when you are just getting to know someone, you tend to communicate a little bit more formally. And then once you have built a relationship with that person, you can be a little bit more casual, okay? Next, you want to ask yourself, are there any cultural differences that you need to think about? Are there any cultural differences that might cause misunderstanding or miscommunication or cause offense in your conversation, all right? The next question that you can think about is is this an appropriate time or the right time to have this conversation? Is this an appropriate time to have this conversation? Let's say that you want to talk about something very serious. You want to talk about a sensitive subject. You want to talk about something that might take a long time to discuss. Before you start the conversation, think about this. Is this the right time or the best time to have this conversation? All right. And finally, you need to think about what the point of the conversation is. Ask yourself, what is the point or the goal of this conversation? If you have a goal, all right? Of course, sometimes you're just having social conversations, you're just having a chat with someone, but sometimes you might be having a conversation with a goal in mind. So for example, if you're trying to expand your professional network, you're trying to network with someone, you're trying to get a potential job opportunity, you're trying to express romantic interest in someone. Sometimes there is a reason for your conversation, and it's a good idea to think about this ahead of time, all right? So if you ask yourself these 5 questions, it's just going to help you get into the right mindset and be prepared for how you want your conversation to go. It's basically saving you from going into a conversation blindly and unprepared, all right? Because in last week's lesson, we talked about how to be confident in English, okay? If you haven't watched that lesson, make sure that you do. It's a really great lesson, all right? And one of the points that I mentioned was, in order to be more confident, you have to be prepared. And the same goes for an English conversation. If you want to feel confident, you need to be prepared. So answering these 5 questions will just help you to be prepared for your conversations in English. So now let's talk about how to start a conversation with someone who you already know. You've met this person before, or you know them well already, okay? There are pretty much 3 very easy steps that you can follow to have a smooth start to your conversation, all right? Step 1, you're going to greet the person. Step 2, you're going to make some small talk. And then step 3, you're going to ask a question or introduce the topic of your conversation, all right? So you're gonna greet them, then you're gonna make some small talk, and then introduce the topic of your conversation or ask a question that leads to the main topic of your conversation, all right? So when you greet someone, you can obviously say hi, you can say hello, but you can also add a nice phrase, a greeting phrase, of course, depending on the situation, all right? So imagine that you're seeing someone who you know, but you haven't seen them in a long time. You could say, hi, long time no see, okay? Hi, Sarah, long time no see. Or hi, Sarah, it's great to see you again. Or hi, Sarah, it's been ages, okay? So there's lots of really nice phrases that you can say instead of hi, or hi, how are you? Okay, there's nothing wrong with hi, how are you? But sometimes it's nice to change it up and add some variety. And of course, these phrases are super natural as well. And I personally use them all the time in my conversations, all right? So a greeting can be hi, how are you? It's been ages. It's great to see you again. Long time no see, okay? And just note that all of the phrases I'm mentioning in this lesson, all of them are in the ebook. You will have a full list of all these phrases, so don't worry. You can also pause and make some notes, but again, you can grab the free ebook just down below this video, okay? So step 1, you're going to greet them, okay? Step 2, you're going to make some small talk. Now, small talk is a very important part of communication and conversations in English. It is a necessary part of conversations in English. I know that small talk is not popular in every single culture. Some people see it as kind of a waste of time or unnecessary, but in English it is expected. It builds rapport. It makes people comfortable. It really helps to kind of warm up the conversation, and it helps to get the dialogue going. So you definitely need to make some small talk, all right? So since you know the person already, you can ask questions about things that you already know, okay? You can say, how's your family? How is work? How have you been? Okay. How was your holiday? If you know this information. If you haven't seen the person for a long time, you can simply say, how have you been? Or how is everything going? Okay. How is everything or how have you been since you haven't seen them in a long time? So small talk is different when you know the person and when you don't know the person, of course, right? So make some small talk. And then step 3, we're going to ask a question or kind of introduce the topic of the conversation if there is a topic to be introduced, okay? So imagine that you're seeing someone you haven't seen for a long time. You're going to greet them. Hi, Sarah. How are you? It's been ages. It's so great to see you. How have you been? Okay, step 1 and step 2. After she answers, we can then transition into the conversation and you can say, actually, I wanted to talk to you about a really great opportunity that I think you might be interested in. Okay, so I want to tell her about this opportunity. I'm introducing that topic. Okay, so now let's talk about how to start a conversation with someone who you don't know or someone who you are meeting for the very first time, okay? Again, we have 3 very simple steps, but the phrases and the wording that you use with a new person will be a little bit different. Your tone will be a little bit different, okay? So step 1 is to greet the person, of course, and introduce yourself if necessary, okay? Greet the person and introduce yourself if necessary. Step 2 is to make some small talk and ask some questions about them, okay? Small talk and ask them some questions. Step 3 is to transition into the main topic of your conversation by introducing the topic or by asking a question. It depends on the situation. It depends on the circumstance. Okay, so let's have a closer look at each one of these steps. So step 1, greet the person and introduce yourself. Your introduction might have to be more formal or less formal. It might have to be more detailed or less detailed, depending on the situation. But I want to point out that when we introduce ourselves in English, we don't have to give a long introduction. Sometimes I hear people introducing themselves and talking about their family, their age, their job, everything, a lot of information in an introduction, but this is not necessary. You have to remember that you're talking to a stranger and you only need to tell them essential information or information that really matters to them. So if it's a social situation, they probably just want to know your name. If it's a professional situation, you might have to provide your title as well, okay? So I'm going to give you 3 examples of greetings and introductions for people that you don't know or you're meeting for the first time, okay? I'm going to go from least formal to most formal. So we're going to start with informal, semi-formal, and formal, okay? So the least formal would be, hi, I'm Julie, how are you? Or hi, I'm Julie, what's your name? Okay, very simple, no extra information, and this is okay for a social situation, all right? And something that is semi-formal, maybe in a more professional situation, you could say, hi, my name's Julie. I'm the head of HR at ABC International, okay? Maybe I'm meeting you at a conference or a convention, a more professional setting. So I'm giving you my name, my title, and the company that I work for, okay? That's enough information in that situation. Now imagine that we're meeting in a business meeting and I'm going to introduce myself and also a colleague, okay? So my greeting and introduction might sound like this. Hi, my name is Julie. I'm the head of HR and this is my colleague Dave, the general manager. Thank you so much for being with us today. How are you? Okay, so there's more information. I'm introducing myself and someone else, all right? So the key here is to decide how formal or how informal you need to be and how much information the person really needs to know about you in that moment, okay? So don't overdo it, keep it simple. And again, I have a full list of all of the possible phrases you can use to introduce yourself in the ebook. Again, you can grab it just down below this video, okay? Step 2 is to make small talk. So I said that small talk is always important. It is important with people who you know and even more important with people who you don't know, okay? Generally, when you're making small talk with new people, you want to ask them open-ended questions and you want to ask questions about them. You don't want to just talk about yourself. You don't want to talk about your work and your day, because this doesn't open up the conversation. It becomes very one-sided, all right? One of the keys to a successful conversation is for the conversation to be mutual, to be natural, to be two-sided, a two-way conversation, all right? So you can ask questions like, did you find our office okay? Or have you been to this venue before? Have you been to this location before? Is it your first time here? How's your day going so far? What do you think of the event? Okay, so leave the questions open. So you want to ask questions where the other person can kind of give you some details and talk a little bit. Okay, this will help to continue your small talk and hopefully ask some follow-up questions as well. Step 3 is to introduce the topic of your conversation. And you do this by transitioning from small talk into your main topic. Now, if you're having a social conversation and maybe you're at a party and you're just meeting new people, you might not have a specific topic to introduce, and that's totally okay. But in more professional situations like a business meeting or maybe at a networking event, you probably do have a specific topic that you want to discuss and you want to talk about. So you need to introduce the topic so that the other person knows what this conversation is about, right? And you do this by transitioning from small talk to the main topic, okay? Timing is very, very important here. Do not rush your small talk. Do not interrupt the other person. Do not cut them short. Pay attention to them. Make sure you listen to what they're saying. And when there is a natural pause or the conversation, the small talk is slowing down a little bit, that's a good time for you to transition and introduce the topic you want to talk about, okay? And the nicest or easiest way to kind of do this is to take something from your small talk and connect it to the main topic that you want to talk about. So for example, imagine that the main topic of the conversation for me is that I want to talk to you about collaborating on a project. Okay, this is the main topic for me. And during small talk, you mentioned that you have a lot of projects and they're going very well. Okay, so I can transition like this. It's great to hear that your projects have been going well. Actually, I wanted to chat with you about a possible collaboration on a new project. Okay, so it's great to hear that your projects are going well. So I listened to you. I took this piece of information and I'm now connecting this to the main topic that I'm introducing, which is a possible collaboration. Okay, if this is not possible, again, you need to wait for small talk to kind of slow down or come to a natural end. You don't want to interrupt. And then you can say, so I actually wanted to talk to you about a possible collaboration. Okay, you can just start your sentence with, so I actually wanted to talk to you or chat with you or discuss this thing with you, okay? So there you have it. That is how you can get your English conversations started. Do not forget to grab your free ebook, English Conversations Made Simple, to help you master the skill and the art of conversations in English. If you have any questions on this topic, please do leave them down below in the comments. And as always, thank you so much for watching and for learning with me. And I will see you very soon in the next lesson.